All right, good.
All right. So we are live. This is Rob Thompson Sports Biz podcast. I got these extra pair of glasses on here. Sorry. Ralph, here's the thing. I walk around my house like this a lot looking for my glasses. My wife is like, they're on your head. Look at you.
Well, we do that at this age, man.
Right?
I look for things that are in my hand. It's crazy.
Right. It's like, she's like, they're on your face, you moron. So this is a Sports Biz podcast interview with influencers. So you do qualify because you're definitely an influencer and you are a former college athlete, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So, we met a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. We just clicked. I think, your journey in life is amazing. And I think you got a great story to tell. And I'm just a big fan of what you've been doing. So, do you go by pastor, or is that how do I approach this with you?
On Sundays, I go by pastor. On Monday through Saturday, you can call me Ralph.
Okay, that's fair enough. And today is what? Tuesday? Okay.
Tuesday. I'm just Ralph, man.
So Ralph Graves Jr. So welcome to the show, and I'm really thrilled to have you on here. And I like your backdrop. I like the trees in the background over there.
Thank you. I'm sitting in my den. My wife thinks it's hers, but it's mine. So,
right.
But I'm happy to be on, man. I'm thrilled that you would even have me as a guest.
Everybody's got a story to tell, and it always comes back, the transition. But let's start with that story. So I teed it up where you were a former college athlete.
Yes.
And then, so we'll start there. And then you're a retired police officer.
That's right.
And a senior pastor in your church.
That's right. Yeah.
And now you're a keynote speaker. You're an author. You're an entrepreneur. You kind of, yes. You're 27 years old. So I don't know how you squeeze it all in. Right? So let's talk about from you're done playing college ball and you become a police officer. How did that build the foundation in who you are today?
Well, you know what? I think who I am today, the foundation probably already there, but those two things, football, athletics is one thing, but football to me is probably the greatest sport ever because it just teaches you so many things on that field with 10 other guys and I took that mentality to the police department. It's the same thing, and so we were kind of building on the foundation that was kind of set in my life by my father, and my father was very active in the life of me and my brother and my mom in the home. But
we got a little delay. Hold on here. I got a little delay, but go ahead.
That's all right.
You were on
so the police officer thing, man. It was just. I'm gonna be honest with you. It wasn't planned. I didn't grow up wanting to be a police officer. Yeah. I tell the story. I got a young lady pregnant. It just so happened that young lady happens to be my wife of 28 years, but we didn't get married right away. She was pregnant, and I needed a job, and police officer job came up. I took it. I passed. I just never got in trouble. I passed. Next thing I know, I'm a police officer, and I thank God for it. It was a great career. So
yeah,
it's a great time. Yeah.
Well, 21 years on the job is, everybody says it goes by like that, but it's I'm sure you got some great stories in there.
Oh yeah, the days are long. The years are fast, but the days are long. But it really helped shape me and mold me. I was able to see the depravity of man, unfortunately, up close, and that depravity reaches across every color, every socioeconomic background. It doesn't matter. People do horrible things to one another, and horrible things happen to people. And I started noticing some universal laws that apply to everybody that certain people were applying to their lives, and they were successful. So that kind of led me to the book.
Gotcha. And When was your dad a pastor, or were you guys heavily involved in church at the time? Like growing up, was that always part of your life?
Yes, my dad was a pastor. He became a pastor when I was about 6, and he pastored for over 41 years, maybe close to 43 years. So I was a PK, and I got a
Pastor's kid?
chance. Yeah,
Oh boy,
PK.
you're always the troublemakers?
That's what they say, but here's the odd thing about it.
Yeah.
All the trouble I was getting into were with the other kids as well. So we were just as bad as everybody else. So,
Don't point the finger. Don't point. You guys. Everybody was extra nice to you. Come on.
Yeah, you know what? And that you were absolutely right. They let me get away with some stuff they probably shouldn't have. So yeah, okay, I'll take that.
So at that time, were you even thinking when you were a police officer, even before that? Obviously, your dad had a massive impact on your life, right?
Yeah.
You watched him every Sunday, and you saw how people reacted to him. Did you think at that time that you were going to be a pastor, or did that happen to you later in life?
I knew I was going to preach. That pastoring thing, man, is not something that you grow up wanting to do. Yeah. If you are truly called by God, 9 times out of 10, you try to run from it. You say, Lord, I can't do it. Yeah. And I kind of knew about 8 or 9 years old I was going to preach. And I spent the next 10 years trying to convince God he had the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I did all the dirt I could. I stayed with, God, you have the wrong one. I'm not going to do it. I'm not him. I'll never preach. I never thought about pastoring, but I knew I was called to preach. And then as I got older and I was going through some things in life, and God just said, listen, you can't run anymore. You can keep running, but your life will never be like I intended it to be. So I just threw up my hands and said, okay, Lord, use me. So that's how that went.
Did you start that while you were a police officer?
No, I started when I started preaching about 2 or 3 years before I became a police officer. Then I actually preached what we call in our denomination, we were Baptists. I preached something called a trial sermon. I was 25. I was 25 at the time. Yeah. So I had been a police officer for about 2 or 3 years, and I started preaching. Yeah.
So, and that led to, obviously, you had a couple kids in there, and
oh yeah, we had 3 children, and my wife's in nursing school, and I'm a cop running in and out on the street, all kinds of shifts, crazy stuff going on in and around me in my life, and but we made it through. I believe God had his hand on me and my family, and we made it through. Those lean years, man, you're looking at somebody who didn't have it all, man. I've had my car repoed before. My house has been in foreclosure, all those sort of things coming up as a young man getting married at, how old was I when I got married? I was 23 when I got married. Who gets married at 23? My wife was 20 at the time.
Me, I got married at 20.
You and I.
Yeah.
Kids don't do that today.
No. I don't know. Because, when we got done playing, I think now that concussions, if you get married by, then it should automatically qualify you as someone who suffered from several concussions.
Something. I mean, I don't know. I look at my son. My son's 26. I'm like, I hope and pray he's nobody's husband. I hope he's not thinking about being anybody's husband right now.
Right now, I know. Anyway, let's hope our wives don't watch this.
I know, right?
Yeah. All right. So obviously the church was a big part, and even when you're raising your family and you're scrambling, and I'm with you. It took me 20 years to actually make any money.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You're just chasing it, and you're chasing it, and you're chasing it. You're on a hamster wheel, and what you realize, and what we both learned at that time, is the life experience that we have now, because we earn it, and we had to raise kids that became great kids.
Right.
Church involved heavily around both of our lives.
Yeah.
I was, raised Catholic and stayed in the Catholic church. That's why we have 4 kids.
I hear you.
I don't know why we don't have 7, but we got 4.
Yeah.
And so all of that foundation, now that house is being built, and here you are now. What's driving you? What is driving you? What drove us before is raising kids, keeping our head above water, paying our mortgages, and making money.
Yeah.
Obviously now, because you have, you know, trees for background in your dining room there. What is the core of Ralph Graves now? What is the thing that keeps you going every day, Monday through Friday?
Well, of course, you can still say that the kids and all, but they're grown. But I think what really keeps me going, Rob, is that I love to see people's lives change for the better.
Yeah.
I love to see people succeed. I'm a junkie for that. I
Mm.
love to see people around me, friends, family, people I just meet. I love to see the joy that they feel from succeed, especially those who were counted out, especially those that people gave up on, especially those, who were overlooked. Everybody comes here with an assignment. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
And I love showing people how to grasp that, how to find out what that is, and how to succeed day to day, moment by moment. That's what drives me, man. It's just to see the people around me just succeed at what they're trying to do.
Talk about Unstoppable. Talk about the book you just published.
Unstoppable. Here it is, right here, everybody. There it
Yeah.
is. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of universal laws, and I probably should explain what that is, because I don't get in trouble by anybody.
Yeah.
Universal laws are like gravity. Gravity is a universal law, and no matter who you are, no matter what your race, no matter what your religion, we all have to respect and know how to operate within gravity to be successful. I tell people, and I have to say this in Christian circles a lot, a Christian and a non-Christian can stand on top of a building. If they both jump off, the Christian's not going to grow wings because
Right.
because he says he knows the Lord. We both have to respect gravity to be successful. So there's certain universal laws that we all have to respect. I talk about the law of habit. If you want to be successful, you have to really understand the law of habit and develop successful habits. I talk about the law of reciprocity, law of giving, of serving. The more you give, the more you do receive. The more you serve others, the more others will serve you. It's crazy how some people just can't grasp that. I talk about the law of forgiveness. There's no sense of holding a grudge.
Huge.
There's no sense of, you can't move forward as long as you are unforgiving towards someone who 9 times out of 10 don't even care that you're angry with them.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about things like that: law of habit, law of forgiveness, law of mental equivalency, law of expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And law of we're like this because we're football guys. Law of intelligent practice, not just practice, but intelligent practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talk about those 7 things and how I saw them, and how I'd seen them on the street as a police officer, how I'd seen them in the lives of people who didn't even know each other, and how people became successful who just adhered to these 7 universal laws. And I talk about practical steps, how to add them to your life. We talk about living intentionally. So it's kind of really just designed to help people achieve success and as they're pursuing it and achieve their goals. That's what the book's about.
So now, as you help out business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives, obviously this book is a great place for them to start, right? And
Yes.
how do you see? Is there a correlation between folks within your church and the executives and how you help them? So do you shift off of, or so if your core principles are the same, and do you see some correlation between the two on how to change someone's personal life to how to change someone's business?
Well, all of the core message is the same. Just in church, I could talk about Christ. I could talk about God. And when I go to companies or when I talk to executives, what I'm actually teaching them, and you can look at all of the leadership practices in the world, they are all based on biblical principles.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. And so what I do is I just really teach them how to apply these to their lives, whether they're believers or not. I show them that the greatest thing a leader can do is multiply other leaders.
Yeah.
We talk about, of course, everyone, it's a big talk now about the difference between managing and leading, and we talk about those things, and so it's the same core message. But I don't sit down and talk religion with them at all unless they want to.
Right.
But I definitely pour into them all of the strategies and all of the principles that I know that'll really help them reach the next level, whether it be in business or in the personal life.
You know, obviously mental health is a big issue now, and everybody's starting to finally recognize it. It's not just that crazy person over there. I hate to say it
Right.
that way, right? But there's
Yeah.
something really, all of us have a little bit of crazy in us. Women,
Oh, yeah.
our wives have a lot of crazy in them, but
That's right.
you know,
That's right.
I could be watching it. But what is it that you think, you know, and I'm going to go a different direction here too, but
Okay.
it's all going to tie back.
Yeah.
Being an athlete, and we say it all the time, I say it a lot, all the time, maybe, is that it's 85 mental, right? When you get to a
Right.
certain level, high school's one thing, college is a whole different level, right? The 6% of kids from high school go play. 80% of it or even more is mental, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good, talented kids out there that play all sports, but it's the ones that once you get challenged at a higher level, when someone's job is on the line like a coach,
Yeah.
things change a lot.
Yes.
And I see that in business too. I see that with the executives. I see that with people that are maybe you look at it kind of like criminal justice and police force. It's hard to climb the ladder if you're a guy, a man or a woman that can't take the criticism from the superiors, right?
Right.
And likes
Right.
to talk negatively and likes to gossip and likes to be that,
Right.
you know. And it's the same thing in business. You
Yeah.
know, if you're that person who can never get that VP role or higher, chances are, you know, mentally up here, you're emotionally a wreck.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you talk about, and how do you handle that, and what do you see in that? There's 7 questions I just asked you right now, but how do you address that with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and people that you work with, kind of the mental aspect of the
Well,
game?
one thing I tell them, and we learned it from the football field: be in the moment, be present, be intentional, be there. You can't drift off. You can't play the next play until this one is complete. So I tell them to be there. I tell them to be in the moment. I tell them, you know, especially when I talk to people who are looking for promotion, looking for elevation, I ask them, have you completely filled the space that you're in?
Yeah.
If you have not completely filled the space that you're in, if you have not given it your 100% each and every day, day in and day out, then you really can't ask for elevation or promotion until you have filled the space you're in. Say it to executives that want to grow their company. Well, have you already completely filled that space? You know, it's kind of like pouring water into a glass. I mean, I don't need another glass until I fill that one up, right? So I can't expect to go to new levels until I can honestly say that I have completely filled this space, given it the best I can, it's better because of the work we've done here, because of the work I've been allowed to do here. And then, you know, now you move on. And so that kind of, I always really tell folks, you have to challenge yourself before you start pointing fingers at anybody else. You know, have I done it the way it's supposed to be done? And so, like you said, it's a mental thing. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we both know hard work does not go unnoticed. If you should be the first to arrive and the last to leave if you're looking for promotion. On time is late.
Yeah.
You know, on time is late. You know, 15 minutes early, 20 minutes early is on time. And so I really challenge them in those areas about, you know, each and every day doing above and beyond what we're supposed, even in solopreneurs. And I like that term. Did you crush it today? Did you completely crush it? Not only did you crush it today, then after you go home, after you ate dinner, did you put in 4 more hours? Did you put in 10 to 2 a.m.? Because really, you're a solopreneur. That's what you're going to have to do. You have to work all day, then put in another 4 hours.
I do use this as an example a lot. The unique thing about football, unlike other sports, is you learn the process of whether you win or lose, Monday's going to come again.
Yes.
And right, Monday's showing up. It's going to
Monday
be
showing up.
Monday showing up, and the work you put in that week. And it's everything. I got to get up for class. I got to go to, you know, I got to lift. I got to go to a meeting. I got to practice and rinse and repeat. And I got that 2.5 hours, 3 hours on Saturday to
Yeah.
do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Win or lose, Monday's going to come again. And business is exact same thing.
It's a consistency. You have to be consistent.
And whether you have a bad week, you didn't get that big deal done, or it was a tough one, your boss was on you, or you had a bad client, or something happened that was just awful. Guess what? You got a couple of days to rinse it off. Monday's going to come again.
And I believe, circling back to what you just said, it does take a mental toughness to do that.
It does.
It takes a mental toughness. The man, the woman has to have a mental toughness, working when no one sees you working when you feel like you're not appreciated. And to do what you just said, that Monday's coming up again, that rinse and recycle again, over and over again. Yeah, it does take a mental toughness to do that.
And then we all have those days, you know, you have those days where you don't want to get up in the morning because you don't want to face what you're facing. So it could be you're way behind in your bills. You're trying to figure out how to pay bills. It could be, I can't face the job. It's not fulfilling enough. It could be just an easy thing to do is pick up the phone and call out. That's an easy thing.
Yeah.
The hard thing and the thing that's going to build you and lift you up is to go face it.
Yeah.
It's painful and it hurts. And even if you're at the top, and there's times when I was at the top and I had to face horrible days, or I had to face a bad meeting or a tough client.
Yeah.
And you wish that there's days when I wish I was driving a truck. I don't want to even deal with it. Right?
Right.
And,
You're right.
And so it doesn't matter where you are. It all comes down to your mental toughness. The hardest days are always the ones that are going to build you for the days that make it, because that Monday's going to come.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You're right.
If you use that in church, I want someone to record that because I think that's a good one. I just made that up.
I'll use it.
So, anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a question. I was just rambling.
No, man, it's you know, but I totally agree with you. We're not only right, but I totally agree with you. There, it does take a mental toughness. It does take and let me tell you this too, right? Let me flip it around, because there is a strategy for that as well. Because some people might say, well, what about burnout? And well, you know, I'm a man of faith. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer, and so God laid out a prescribed plan to where I'll never burn out, and all I gotta do is follow it. And it's found way back in the book of Genesis. 6 days God did all his creating, and on the seventh day he rested. Now, some of my brothers and sisters will call it a Sabbath day, whatever day you want to use. I don't work 7 days straight. I'll work 6 days. I have a seventh day where mine just happens to be on a Monday. From sundown on Sunday until sundown on Monday, I do absolutely whatever it is I want to do. I recharge, I rest, I don't take any calls. I don't do, and you know what? Business hasn't been better. Has never been better. We look at Chick-fil-A. They do that formula, you know. They work hard 6 days a week. They're closed on Sunday and they get criticized, but they are still one of the #1 joints in the world. So that formula works. And so I don't get burned out because from Sunday night to Monday night, Ralph Graves ain't doing a whole lot. I ain't doing a whole lot.
You're going to Chick-fil-A on Monday, apparently.
Yeah, I'm going to Chick-fil-A. So whatever that day is for a person, I would suggest that they do take a day, because during that day you rest. You all of a sudden you get some more creativity is delivered to you. You know, and I faced the next day, Tuesday, charged up. You know, I'm charged up. You know, today. You know, so that's just a formula, because it does take a mental toughness, and I believe in mental health days and this, that, and the other. But you have to take that day. You know, I'm a workout fiend, but you know, I still take that day. That helps my mental toughness and my stress and all that.
So you're going to be joining us down at the Sports Biz Startup Weekend down in Orlando this January.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Pro Bowl week.
Yeah,
there's a lot happening, and you'll be so happy to get out in South Jersey by that time.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait.
We can't.
It's gonna be a good time.
We're thrilled to have you down there, and what you're going to be able to the value that you're going to add to the startups and the startovers and the entrepreneurs and investors and folks that are going to be attending as well. So how do people get a hold of you? How do they find you?
Anywhere. My website is ralphgravesjr.com. My email is ralph@ralphgravesjr.com. Twitter, RalphGravesJr.com. Facebook, Ralph Graves Jr. Everything's Ralph Graves Jr. You just type in LinkedIn, Ralph Graves Jr. But email me or go to my website, send me an email. We'd love to have a conversation and see how I can help you out, help your team out. Whether it's one-on-one, whether it's team building, whatever, I'm here for you. Go to Amazon, go to my website, whatever, pick up the book, and we can be unstoppable together.
I love it. I love it. Who did the art on that book cover? Is that you?
Yes, it was my concept, but I great graphic design to my publishing company. They did it. They kind of took my idea and they were really able to see it, So I really like the ink drop. Because to me, you drop ink in water, it's unstoppable. So I was like, yeah, I'm going with the ink drop.
I love it. Everybody needs a Ralph Graves Jr. in their life. Everybody. All right, my man. Anything else? I appreciate
it. No, man. No, thanks for having me on, man. I hope your ratings didn't drop because of me.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, are you kidding me? This was, this was definitely a fun one. It's always great when you get on with somebody that you know and you want to share their story and their life and what value they bring to other people.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I'm coming up to a game. So I'll let you know when, and I'd like to meet some of your listeners, man.
Yeah. Well, yes, they'll be all swarmed around me asking for autographs.
I'm sure.
You're kidding me. All right, my man. Listen, it's been great talking to you.
Likewise.
Say hello to everybody down there. Again, that's Ralph Graves Jr. over there. I'm Rob Thompson, Sports Biz Podcast. You've been watching it. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we will see you next